You asked for me. Here I am.
Captain America Brave New World has given Marvel fans a fresh chapter for one of its most important heroes, and it's opening doors for where things might go in a potential Captain America 5. Ever since Chris Evans' Steve Rogers passed the shield to Anthony Mackie's Sam Wilson at the end of Avengers Endgame, everyone knew the character would take on a brand new life. That moment wasn't just symbolic, it really was Marvel's way of saying the Captain America mantle could evolve, bringing in new struggles, allies, and stories. Brave New World dives straight into this by showing Sam trying to live up to the shield while also being pulled into a global conflict that puts him in the spotlight. The movie mixes the old with the new. We get to see familiar faces like Sam himself, Thaddeus Ross, and Samuel Stearns, but it also introduces newer characters such as Joaquin Torres, Ruth Bat-Seraph, and Sidewinder. This blend makes the film feel like it's honoring the past while steadily building for the future. Because of how much setup the film packs in, it's hard not to imagine Marvel already has Captain America 5 somewhere on their mind, even though nothing's been officially announced yet. Now, let's be clear. Captain America 5 hasn't been confirmed. Marvel hasn't said a word about it. But that doesn't mean fans should stop hoping. What we do know is that Anthony Mackie will return for the big crossover events, Avengers Doomsday and Secret Wars. That feels natural, especially since Brave New World features Ross pushing Sam to restart the Avengers. Captain America has always been the Avengers' core leader, and just because the person behind the shield has changed doesn't mean the role itself has to. Even with no direct sequel on the books, Mackie's presence in the MCU is secured for years to come. And honestly, Marvel tends to play the long game. Brave New World is still fresh in theaters, so the studio likely wants to see how audiences react before rushing ahead. But Captain America has always been too important to just let sit idle. Even if reviews for Brave New World were mixed, Marvel could still move forward because it's less about one film's reception and more about the character's legacy. Sam's version of Cap is still in its early stages, and exploring his journey further would only make the franchise stronger. If Captain America 5 does happen, then the cast feels pretty easy to guess. Anthony Mackie as Sam is obviously a given. Danny Ramirez as Joaquin seems like a lock too, since Brave New World already positioned him as Sam's trusted partner. Joaquin is even told by Sam to be ready for the Avengers' return, which makes it seem like Marvel is planting seeds for him to suit up in a bigger way. Shira Haas's Ruth and Zosha Rockmore's Lila Taylor also feel like natural returning allies, because they've established themselves as part of Sam's circle. Then there's Carl Lumbly's Isaiah Bradley, a character who brings depth to Sam's story, and it would only make sense to keep him around. Another thing worth noting is that Brave New World didn't kill off any major characters, so technically anyone can come back. Thaddeus Ross is a good example. He plays a big role in the film, ends up in the raft, and even though his health is in decline, it's doubtful Marvel's going to cut his Red Hulk storyline short. And then there's the Serpent Society, who were teased but not fully explored. Giancarlo Esposito's Sidewinder seems like someone who could become a much bigger threat in a sequel, giving Sam and his team plenty to tackle. But what really points to Captain America 5 being possible is the post-credits scene. Sam goes to visit Samuel Stearns in prison, and Stearns basically warns him about a bigger multiversal threat on the horizon. On the surface, this is a clear setup for Avengers Doomsday and Secret Wars, but it could just as easily bleed into a solo film depending on Marvel's timeline. That scene alone feels like Marvel saying, "Don't worry, this isn't the end." Brave New World also explores Sam's inner doubts, mainly his worry that Steve might have chosen wrong by passing him the shield. By the end of the movie, Sam proves to himself that he really can carry the weight of being Captain America. So a Captain America 5 could build on this newfound confidence. It would be the first time we'd get to see Sam fully owning the role without hesitation, which could be really powerful, especially once he cements himself as the leader of the Avengers. One interesting thing about the Captain America films is that they don't need to rely on massive alien invasions or giant multiversal collapses to work. They've always been a bit more grounded compared to other Marvel projects, and that's a strength. Brave New World tapped into that again by focusing on political tensions and personal stakes, so Captain America 5 could follow that same formula, letting Sam face enemies who test him as both a hero and a person. Speaking of history, Brave New World actually calls back to The Incredible Hulk in some surprising ways. 17 years after that film, characters like Samuel Stearns and Thaddeus Ross come back with gamma-based upgrades. But instead of Bruce Banner being the one to deal with them again, it's Sam Wilson who defeats both the leader and the Red Hulk. That move not only ties back to Marvel's early films, but also solidifies Sam as the new face of leadership. There's another detail from The Incredible Hulk that's worth pointing out. Back in that movie, when Ross's forces capture Bruce at Culver University, two students are filming the chaos. One is Jack McGee, a nod to the old Hulk TV series, and the other is Jim Wilson, who in the comics is actually Sam Wilson's nephew. In the MCU, Jim Wilson's footage becomes the first real public documentation of the Hulk, and he's even credited with coining the name. That's a neat little connection, because it shows how Sam's story has been tied to Hulk's world in ways that weren't obvious at first. But here's the curious part. Sam and Bruce Banner have never really interacted in the MCU. When Sam makes a passing comment during Bruce and Natasha's reunion. Because of this, Brave New World feels like a missed opportunity. Sam facing Hulk's villains could have been even more impactful if Marvel had built up some kind of bond between the two beforehand. Think about how Age of Ultron's party scene made Steve lifting Mjolnir in Endgame way more satisfying. A little extra setup between Sam and Bruce could have given this whole storyline a lot more weight. Still, Brave New World deserves credit for what it managed to pull off. It gave Sam a strong arc about proving his worth, it teased bigger threats on the horizon, and it kept the door wide open for another solo film. Even though nothing has been announced, the pieces are all there. Marvel loves to keep fans guessing, but Captain America 5 feels less like a matter of if and more like a matter of when. And if we think about Marvel's release schedule, a Captain America 5 could land perfectly in Phase 7, after Secret Wars resets the stage. That would give Sam plenty of space to shine in the crossover events and then return for his own grounded story. Considering Marvel launched the first Guardians movie in August because they thought it was a risk, only to later move the sequels into Prime May slots, you can see how they adapt based on success. The same could happen here. If Brave New World holds its ground, Captain America 5 could easily drop around 2027, kicking off a new wave of stories. So even though nothing is confirmed, Brave New World feels like the stepping stone to something bigger. Sam Wilson's Captain America is just getting started, and Marvel knows how important it is to keep that momentum going. Fans want to see more of his leadership, more of his unique perspective, and more of his grounded approach in a universe filled with gods and multiversal chaos. And honestly, a bunch of storylines are already waiting for him, whether it's Stearns' warning, Ross's future as Red Hulk, or the lingering Serpent Society. All of that could easily come together in Captain America 5, making it a movie worth waiting for. Well, that's it for today. Let me know what you think in the comments below. And don't forget to subscribe, because we'll be covering more updates on this soon and other exciting upcoming movies and series. We'll see you next time.